We are here in Catalonia on the Costa Brava, meeting with Michael St.Clair. He is going to be talking with us about the meetings that he's having with his clients and his subscribers. Thank you for meeting with us, Michael. Could you please tell us what the objectives are in the meetings that you're having here in privacy?
Okay, we're preparing for 2015 up to 2025, a decade, and our subscribers and my clients have asked me to meet in face-to-face settings in smaller groups. The objective is to network among leading individuals who are preparing for the coming years, of which we know there are some difficulties. We'll talk a bit about the astrology. Saturn in Sagittarius during the next 2 to 3 years. Jupiter in a nice position in Leo until the middle of 2015. So we have a situation where we had these very tense alignments back in 2014, which we got behind us in one piece, and now we're getting into a better time to prepare according to what we see coming with the greater reset in 2020. And the objective therefore is networking, is sharing visions, enacting business plans. I have business clients who come to see me talking about how they should position their companies. And of course we're also exchanging ideas as to how to live a safer life.
And what kind of clients are coming to these meetings, and what are their intentions?
Their intention is to be receiving a certain number of knowledge, of information. That's one level of the story. Of course, I can say a lot of things because I've seen things, I've been in touch, as you know, with former heads of states. Alexander Haig had filled me in on a lot of things when I was a young man. I've also talked to the astronaut, Dr. Ed Mitchell, the commander of Apollo 14, who wrote the book The Way of the Explorer. He spoke to me at some time about what he feels is going on in the world. So there is a certain level of information transfer, which we could say that's left brain activity. But the real purpose why they come to see me is because they know that we actually do energy work together. While I say information and I share knowledge, we actually work with the energy of the field, we're in the energy out in nature, and we actually make things happen because we know that 99% of the stuff is unseen. What we see here, that's the 1%. So it's really energy work.
So you get a lot more downloaded in this kind of situation as far as information, rather than just reading it on the internet. Say if you have email interactions with people.
Yes, of course, this is more than information, and they want to meet face to face because of the obvious. We know that certain things are better not said over the internet, mail, or even over the phone. So we prefer to, interact with each other in a nice setting. They come for about 4 days. They spend time together. We talk about all sorts of issues. They ask me questions ranging from world astrology to global affairs, what's going on in Russia, why the BRICS are reorganizing with possibly a new currency, where gold is going. I said it's going to $3,600 at least. In the future, probably up to $7,000 by 2020. We discuss where and how to buy gold and silver safely, how to sell it. One business client actually asked me in my last meeting, what is the exit strategy? That whole subject, exit strategy, took a whole day. So I can't in a few minutes explain that, but that's the kind of work we do together. And these kinds of clients, they can be teachers, healers, business people, all sorts of individuals interested in preparing a better life, a safer life, but also to become productive in their field of endeavor.
So you're saying it's more about thriving instead of surviving the times that are coming.
That's right. We're very confident and positive about the future, while knowing, however, that the situation globally is deteriorating. We know there's coming a great leveling in 2016-17. There comes the great reset by 2020. So we know what's going on worldwide, and that's not really what we have to discuss, since that's on the network. People can log in and subscribe to my network and read up on what's going on and what I comment on. That's the left brain part of sharing information. But the thriving instead of surviving, that's the private level where we discuss what we can actually do to have a meaningful life and to create a better community. This is about interacting with communities. It's really the I-Ching. How does a person who commands certain resources build a new network around herself or himself? And so we have several people coming to talk with our clients. That's not just me on my own. We have a half a dozen in this team. One is a healer and teacher, another one does motivational talks. He speaks about Krishnamurti. One business leader talks to them about investing, the business community, what's going on. Yet another is an IT expert. He speaks about the future of a new internet, how we create better platforms, safer platforms, encryptions, etc. I mean, it's very loaded with details. Another person is a seer who can actually help a person affront the future in a more confident manner. Another person was running a spa for 10-20 years and knows a lot about health, food, nutrition, how you make sure that you live a healthy life with your family, what you should eat, what you should watch out for. These are the kinds of issues we approach.
Do you talk about the climate change? I know so many of my friends are having extreme difficulties dealing with the extremes, going from hot to cold, earthquakes, flooding, mudslides,
yes, sure.
Volcanic eruptions.
Volcanic eruptions. Yes, of course we talk about it. That's the surrounding field we're in. Here we're on a beautiful day, a Club Med setting, but we know things can change at the drop of a hat. We see that North America is in polar vortex, possibly for a while. Scientists are saying the situation may be here to stay. So we have to work with changing climate. We work with changing surroundings all the time. So we're on the ball, knowing where to set up shop. We've talked about radiant zones. One client said it's best to have 3 places plus backup plans, backup plan for the backup plan. Yes, you bet, we have to deal with a lot of things.
You mentioned earlier that you had worked with some world leaders and in some meetings. How did that come about?
That was when I was very young. I was researching my book, and through diplomatic circles I was able to access some of those folks. But I think my best time spent was with the astronaut who was talking to me about telepathy at a distance, and he was interested in noetic sciences and things way far beyond what ordinary people would even think about. So it came about simply by being curious and in the field and connecting, which is what we're doing. We're connecting to leading individuals.
And that brings me to something that's happened recently about the missing Malaysia plane. Does that have any connection with what Edgar Mitchell told you about?
Well, my personal view in this matter is the plane is lost. We've heard about 7 or 8 official explanations that contradict each other, and when they do that, it's because they have to cover something up. So what we're witnessing is a cover-up. I cannot say that I know what happened, but it looks like a dynamic ET event. There are time portals, there are wormholes, whatever you want to call them, and it's not the first time that a plane simply goes missing.
Much like the Bermuda Triangle?
Pretty much, yes. So there's something more to it than the authorities want to let people know. Now, I cannot say that the authorities know exactly what happened, but it was interesting to see that the American Navy showed up on the scene right away, and they never found anything. So it's too late to know what happened.
And the story changed, didn't it, from the beginning of the story as it progressed?
Yeah, the
facts changed according to the reporters.
The rendition of the narratives kept morphing, and from day to day we were hearing contradictory stories, and the Malaysian people and also the Chinese are very unhappy about this, and it was very clear that once the Atlanticists, the Anglo-Americans, came on the scene, the whole narrative took a completely different turn of explanations. There was almost a U-turn of events. The plane was supposed to go that way, and then they were looking that way for it. So all these things show you that there's something else to it. Anyway, yes, we talk about all sorts of things.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I've seen, it is spectacular. This area is absolutely spectacular beauty.
So yes, this is a radiant zone. This is a typical thriving area. Catalonia is doing very well. And there are other areas in Europe we have covered, in Germany, South Germany, in France. There are definitely areas that are going to do very well. We have chosen Catalonia mainly because of the weather we can have in March, summer-like weather all the way to September. We choose moments when there are less tourists around, when the hotel personnel can give us all the attention we need.
And when you say radiant zones, what does that mean exactly?
Well, if we say that the world is in a depleted energy zone right now and lasting for probably about 10 years into 2025, we came up with the concept that we need to build areas around us, beginning inside of ourselves, of course, which are radiant, in other words, that radiate positive energy, out of which we can do our work and out of which we can build a community that itself has radiance and that can withstand the incoming energies better.
I see. And that does lead into the climate changes and other things that are going to be happening in the future.
Yes, we talk to them about exploring how to become autonomous, independent, get out of the system, like Jim St.Clair said. And we talk about nutrition issues I mentioned, food, energy work, also new energies coming, how to be off the grid if somebody wants to be independent completely, how to build houses. I mean, we find out together that by leaving the system, we actually become an asset to society. So these are advanced topics we go through. We discuss, of course, mankind's psychology, and when it comes to world affairs, we simply have actionable intelligence which we can share. I'm in touch still with sources in all sorts of fields, ranging from science to global politics to economy, etc. So when people at the meetings ask us questions, which they put to me, by the way, before we meet, so we can do the research and then in private talk about what we have found out.
So the meetings are customized to a point, what the people attending would like to, what their concerns are.
Absolutely. When a business person wants to know about issues to do with currencies and gold and where to do business successfully, then he will ask me before the meeting what he wants to know to give my team a chance to do the research. Or if someone says in a teaching profession or in the internet world, in the business of the World Wide Web and IT, they may ask us totally different questions which may need a month or two research, and the result of that research we share in private, face to face. So we cover a whole spectrum of issues, and yes, it is custom made. It's done for the person that asks the questions, which by the way then become of interest to others too. So when we had, like in our last meeting, 6 people around the table, and I was asked to say research issues to do with Russia, then the other participants may actually have an interest in hearing that. And conversely, if a person is more interested in food and nutrition issues and modern futuristic medicine, then a businessman may actually be interested to hear that story as well. I mean, I was amazed to see how these business guys are very well aware that they need to live a healthier life, that food is very important for themselves, for the children. We can talk about education as well. So this is big what we're doing.
And from what I understand, I think a lot of these people have trust in you because of some of your previous forecasts. I think it started in Florida. Is that when your first forecast that you did about the election
yes,
came to fruition? That's
right. I had a radio show in Florida. I started becoming known in 1999. They had asked me to predict the outcome of that election, Bush-Gore, and I had written down, this was notarized, that there would be a ballot recount and that Bush would then be installed and so on. Anyway, yes, I was known because of that at that point, and I had my own radio shows. I talked to former CIA agents about 9/11 and all that kind of stuff. But I think they come to us more because I've consulted them on their personal lives before they meet me. We usually do this via email, privately, secure emails, and they gain a level of trust because they see that I know things and I can help them in their lives, and then they want to meet in person because they want to ask questions face to face, because the energy work that we do has to be around the table face to face. You cannot do that via the electronics that carry potentially nefarious energies.
Yes, a lot gets lost in the communication when you're not face to face, having the sound, the sight, all the faculties with you. How can people find out about these meetings?
Oh, that's simple. The new website is stclairgold.com. You just log on to stclairgold.com, and there is a public part of the site, and then there is a login private part of the site for members. And again, that gives you access to the Radiant Zone network, where there are my updates every week, and that's where the meetings are structured, where you can actually go into the subsection that talks about when the next meeting comes on, where it's going to be, and how you reserve your spot and so on.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael.
You're welcome.